It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in.
Yes, greetings and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show on Real Entertainment Network. Yes, I look like you freeze the by. Yes, sir, you can hear me? Yes, let me say greetings again to those who are tuning in to this network, Real Entertainment Network. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in on another Friday evening. This evening, our guest will be Mono Tweed. We'll be speaking about bees in agriculture and the importance of that little giant. So let me say good evening to the folks in Oli and Liamega, if you're a first-time listener, which is the indigenous name for St. Kitts and Nevis. We appreciate you guys spending the time with us this evening. It shows that you have that interest when it comes to agriculture and the environment that we're living in. Let me say good evening to the folks in the neighboring island, in Saba, Statia, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands, also the BVI, also the folk in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, and the folks in the St. Vincent, the Grenadines, throughout Grenada, and throughout the whole Windward Island. Also the folks in North America, from the Florida Keys, and they're all going through your winter blizzard and all this crazy stuff. So stay warm. If you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. You get no frostbite and hypothermia and all those different stuff that can affect you and end up and lose your life. So from the Florida Keys all up to Maine, Atlanta, Chicago, Texas, Houston, wherever you're at, Boston, to the sound of my voice, greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. And also the folks over in Europe in those different time zones. By this time, the time to listen is late in the evening and sometimes late in the morning. And the guys still spend the time to even going to sleep. So we appreciate you guys. And also thank those who been, when they see me around, they let me know they do listen and they enjoy the topics that we speak about and the guests. So we greatly appreciate those things. And remember, if you want to be a sponsor to the show or you want a spot to have your own show, whatever you want to speak about, just communicate with us and we can make that possible. And remember, the Everything Agriculture Show is sponsored by Shabazz Organics and Monsters Last Stop at Cakes Bay, where you get your fresh fruits and vegetables and you get farm tours and you get your fresh jelly water every day. So just come on through a place to chill, watch the sun goes down, just watch the ocean or whatever you want to do it and enjoy just on a farm. So thank you for all those who are coming by and keeping my Uncle Mansa spirit alive. Next week, Saturday, will be the second annual Mansa Fest. So we appreciate those who already letting me know pass through and show support and just chill out and enjoy the farm and that kind of vibe. So definitely, I already know, that's Genesis, don't let me know. the higher height Rastafari movement will be there selling ITAL on the spot. So come on out. Only a small fee. Does nothing more than $15. So that sounds good to me right there. So let's go back to my co-host. Yason, good evening to you.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of Everything Agriculture. Everyone listening to us, it doesn't matter where you're listening to us from, it's always a pleasure to have you on here with us, listening Manuel Tweed, and we're going to be talking bees tonight. So I'm looking forward to learning and, sharing and learning more so. I know Banky himself, I visited his farm the other day and he's showing me some natural hives that he have there and so on. So Banky is not afraid of the bees, I guess I would have to eventually have to overcome a little bit of that myself, but um, but yeah, it's good. So I guess the more I learn, I guess it would cause me to be more knowledgeable and thus not necessarily have that level of phobia, you know what I mean? I'm not really necessarily afraid of them because anything that you show fear to would, they have their energies that they pick up and so on. So I generally would not necessarily run away from them or anything like that. But I see people go to deal with bees and so on. Sometimes them man ain't even got no clothes and nothing and so on. And, I don't think I would be at that level at this point. So I'm just saying that. But I look forward to the discussion. And so we're going to give you that opportunity to, introduce yourself to the public again. You're not necessarily a stranger to the platform because you would have been here before, but still, there will be first-time listeners and there will be first-time viewers. And so we'll give you that opportunity to introduce yourself and let the people know a little bit about Manuel Tweed. You could go back a little bit into your personal story, where you grew up, your roots and all that. And then we get into the B section and so on. So, Banky, I don't know if you want to say something before you introduce the guest, but I'll turn it back over to you.
No, the sound good to me. Manu can go straight into it.
All
Okay.
right then. All right then. Good night again, co-host and host. Pleasure to be here among good people again. Evening to the wider universe, Caribbean people, the people in the diaspora. I know there's a good bit of persons listening. It's good to be here. I hope that persons could leave here learning something, but also appreciating these tiny creatures that contribute so much to our livelihoods, our ecosystem, our food security, and just the planet, whether we notice it or not. I won't delve too deep into myself, but I would say this, and the title you already know my name, Manuel Tweed from St. Kitts. Grew up in Trinity, if you know the little parish town, the point. Yeah, kind of a knack for outdoors, science mind, so agriculture just fit in the two, right between the and farm. Went to high school at Washi, do agricultural science double award, went to CFBC, did agricultural studies there. Banky was an upperclassman, if I remember correctly. He was the year before me. Yeah, so that's that. After that, to the Department of Agriculture, currently working there, doing extension duties for beekeeping and poultry. About 3 years now, about to be 3 years. Yeah, also involved in the cooperative movement here since about 2017. I'm currently the interim president for the St. Kitts Cooperative. So that's a bit and that's a lot. I think that's enough. Um, yeah, I think it goes without saying I'm a beekeeper. So yeah, I think that's enough about me personally. To kick it off into the bees, them. Um,
What is
yeah,
what what's the importance of bees? Why that little giant is so important to our existence, the human being survival?
okay. So I'm gonna bring it far and then bring it back. So not just for people, but the whole world and the planet as it is. You see the plants what that produce oxygen, be able to balance those ecosystems. You see that thing that they do just really pollination, where they will go out and move male male genetics from one plant to the next, from the same plant to different parts of a flower that creates new seeds, the fruits that we like. That is what helps to create new life, just like how a man and a woman would come together. The bees are responsible for that on a large scale. Not all the wild plants that we see just knocking about here. Bees move the pollen to the pistils them of these plants that help to create seed that could perpetuate another generation. So bees account for a lot of the vegetation that we see here indirectly. All these things are plant seeds, and then from we getting plants from the bees now, that contributes to our food because we eat a lot of these. A lot of these plants are now able to benefit us because the bees put them in a position where they could propagate themselves through seeds. They could now go on and bring forth a new generation. They could reforest places. They could provide us with resources, whether it's food, whether it's building material, whether it's textiles, all these different things, Not to mention the direct thing that bees contribute to more than 2/3 of most of the crops that we eat. Anything, not anything, but a lot of the things that we eat that have seed in them needed to be pollinated to be produced. And it's either bees gonna pollinate them or some flies, or you have unique cases where other animals, whether it's a bat or some other bug, another mammal might pollinate them, but bees contribute to the pollination of a lot of these species. So things, if you remove the bees from an ecosystem, we tend to find that a lot of plants disappear or they don't perpetuate onto the next generation as easy. That's one of the importance of bees. So as pollinators for food security, ecosystem regulators and amplifiers, just to be simple. There's a lot.
Yes, sir.
These little things do.
Yes, son?
I am first impressed with the fact that there is actually an extension officer that actually seeks to address these. I really did not know that that exists. I know that there's the animal side and so on, but I didn't know that there's specifically for bees, and so I found that is quite interesting. And I guess
And
based on
so
right.
that is not something that is in place in Navy, and I've been advocating for that in Nevis for years since I've been there. Where they must have, like I used to have a Spanish lady, Josefina, brilliant, and she was working in the cropped area over in France, where they shift her to over in not Maddens, but the MUA, Patworks. And I keep to them, the lady need to be working in a department that I just put her to task. She was a bee specialist. And she asked if the agriculture open, then have all of this in a glass case like Mono do his. And so you see the actual comb and the honey bees moving around and working in a transparent glasses. So I mean, so when I learned that Mono was dealing with that, it's something that I was happy to know that the St. Kitts department and the Fleming they had that in place because it was never there all the time. So it's something that is unique and should have been there from the beginning of agriculture. And that's the most important aspect of it. So how can that be overlooked? Because they used to have the Beekeepers Association, but yet there's not a department in the ministry that deal with bees. So and that need to expand too. So hope Mono get a good budget, a couple $1 million, and have a staff where he can lead and they can provide transportation and they can meditation and so them things there. Yeah, man, 'cause it's one of the most important sector. And when I go on my farm and I come, the most important thing I look for is buzzing. I always want to hear buzzing early in the morning and the kind of vibes. Well, look here, I'm hoping me just call a man name and the man call me, so mistake.
Yeah, well,
It's,
it's one of the questions. I guess I had in mind was answered by Banky just a while ago because I was wondering if actually something like that is in place on Nevis, and I guess I'm learning now that it is not. So definitely it is something that is critical, and I'm really impressed. Like I said, I'm impressed that it is actually happening, and so I want to encourage whoever is at the helm to kind of give you as much support as they can, and I'm hopeful too that Nevis, something can work out and maybe we can do something similar on Nevis, especially knowing that from all the reports that I would have had, it was said that the honey in Nevis is superior throughout not just the federation but throughout the region, and I maybe even dare say throughout the world and all, based on some of the reports that were presented some time back. I don't know if it's outdated or anything like that, but that was what it was said. So in that vein, I would want to think that that is something that you would want to continue to encourage, and creating a
Definitely. It has
of
great potential for beekeeping.
right would be able to help in that regards. I am loving the fact that you're able also to present the information in such a way to get people to recognize how important and how significant those simple little creatures are that many of us are afraid of in a lot of cases, but how important it is for food development and for us to enjoy a lot of the various foods that we have, within the various seasons and so on. So I give thanks for that.
All right. Um, I,
So,
I had a little
okay,
schedule here, a little point here on the history. Just because you brought up the Nevis part, and I have
right,
heard, yes, that Nevis has a good or had a good reputation for honey, and it was because of the quantity and the quality. Because this is how I say it, and I mean no disrespect. Nevis go bush and Sinkis go grass, as just like the default vegetation. And as a result of that, you have a
right,
lot of seed-bearing plants in Nevis, which means you have a lot of flowers to pollinate. So that is more food for the bees to turn into honey. That is a very diverse flavor, whether medicinally or just as a treat. It is a taste of the land. That's how I speak to honey. Honey is a taste, a flavor of the earth, a flavor of the earth. Um, and you guys, Nevis had some stalwarts in the past. Or the Federation had some stalwarts in beekeeping in the past, and it fell off. But persons like Quentin Henderson in Nevis in the 70s, and I hope somebody listening that might be able to correct me if I'm not mistaken. I think he came in the 70s, and he was one of those Peace Corps volunteers, and he would have also done a lot of work in training persons in beekeeping and was very active in your beekeepers cooperative formation and activities at that point in time. And then in St. Kitts, we had Mr. Vanier, who persons 2 generations before me could have tell you, man, they used to got hundreds of bees down the back of Canary Day or bee box, or in Winfield Yard. He used to got hundreds of box down there, whether it was Mr. Vanier or if it was then Mr. Harmony, who would have played a significant role in the history in terms of the Brimstone Hill Society while he served in the boards. And then we come forward to the time that I was around, where we have persons like the honeyman from Newton, the one from Village, Mr. Keynes, now passed, both of them. But, you know, but beekeeping kind of, I don't want to say skip generations, but it wasn't being done the way it could be done or the way we are doing it now in terms of, and I might take that back. It was being done in a domesticated fashion all the time, but it wasn't everybody putting bees in box. We had a lot of persons going out in the bush and taking hives out of trees and hollow spaces and this and that, as you'll see when I will present some of the photography that I would have submitted. So it's just a little evolution and a renaissance, a bringing back of this specific, they want to say venture, peace, agriculture, whatever you want to call it. It's just a bringing it forward again.
and I guess as you mentioned, I think I guess more professional in a sense, where I guess more boxes and so on are being created, as you would have mentioned, versus just the way the guys would have probably just go in the hills and find those that are trapped in whatever hollow of trees and caves or whatever it is. So I guess it's more structured now, so to speak,
That's
as
the word,
many more
yes.
people right have boxes and things like that. So wonderful. Um, that aspect of it has, as you mentioned, grown over the years. Have you seen, based on the fact that you are now involved in extension work on St. Kitts, do you see like a uptick in like younger people getting involved or more people getting involved? What's based on your experience so far? Would you say that?
Yes, and I'll clarify. As I see it now, beekeep a lot of the persons in beekeeping are not younger persons. It's persons who would have had the knowledge in the times and now come to bring it forward into our more domesticated, more structured way, especially with the provision of inputs for beekeeping, and that was one of the main constraints holding back the sector. Getting these equipment at an affordable price and readily available, because beekeeping is a thing, is a agricultural venture that you need these inputs almost before you need them, because the bees ain't waiting on you. Grass gonna go with
Right.
or without you. These bees gonna do what they gotta do with or without you. So you have to understand their behavior and have your equipment ready for them. So to wait 2 weeks to order something and wait 2 weeks to get it and then assemble it and get it ready, the opportunity done gone. Everything done flower and you miss out on that 2, 3, 4 weeks that you needed to really capitalize on. So the Department
Mm.
of Agriculture have been employed would have made great effort in bringing beekeeping equipment. So every day up to today, people come and buy equipment. All through the week is people buying the equipment as what they can afford. It's not beekeeping isn't a cheap venture, but if you know what you're doing, you'll see your way. It's not one of them things I'll just tell somebody jump up and do. But you have to, if you could get the knowledge first, take the time, don't rush it. Get the knowledge first, and then when you go in with a plan and you're going with some knowledge. If you could get a mentor or something like that. So just to answer the question, I don't think I have persons on my list right now that are younger than 25, younger than 27, based on when I watched the list today. But there's also persons that are not on my list that I know, not necessarily that I know, that could be out there beekeeping to some capacity. But I can't say that I've registered, okay, I know 3 or 4 or 5 persons off the top of my head that are younger than that age doing beekeeping. I'm sure a lot of persons would like to get into it and will get into it in the coming years. Maybe even this year, maybe next year soon enough, but I can't say that I have a lot of young persons in it. A lot of the persons who've been in it have now improved their craft, are improving their craft. That's the way I
One
would
of the
say.
thing, one of the thing that I've always, when the minister speak, I know when the farmer PS Fleming will speak, he'll always bring in beekeeping as a part, that area aspect, to highlight that area. But I always look forward for the minister to do that. But sometimes the minister lose that opportunity when he go on the radio and on the platform, they don't bring it, speak on this aspect of it, which is the most important part of it. And I think they drop the
Yeah.
ball a lot. So I must give kudos for Fleming for that and for bringing that part aspect to it, because
Fair
this
enough.
should have been
Yes.
done more than 30 years ago in the industry. Because as you said, now you all are selling material um uh,
Yeah, the Department of
for
Agriculture sells the basic
which
inputs for beekeeping: suit,
good, which is
smokers, pipe tools,
well,
the wooden
I
ware,
didn't
the
know all
wax.
these things. You see, I didn't know these things. So these things is very important. So these are things that should be in communication and be out there in the media, whether it's on ZIZ. Because I didn't know this, that I know you
Okay.
are there, but I did not know the department, like the how they sell seeds, that they do actually sell the smoke and all and different stuff. So is so I
Yeah,
myself
yeah,
as
we
you
do.
realize is
When
surprised.
we first got the stock, sorry to cut you off. When we
Yes,
first got the stock, the media unit did publish it on the Facebook page just
good.
years now, and when we do supply, but it wasn't like
Yes.
island wide ZIZ, because same way the
Well, it's
stocks are
new to
limited,
me.
the storage is limited. So if you, as you said, if more investment would be made, then we could put
Yes.
it out. But it looks bad when you say we got things and then the influx of people come in and
Well,
man,
it
it done
shows the
so
demand is
fast, you ain't
there.
even know where
It's
it
saying I
gone.
lose. But Monio, it shows that this is a unique area and a niche area. So the investment should be made if you know that the demand is there. And plus, you have a certain time when you only have a lot of flowering and pollen around. So you have to use that window. So instead of you can increase your stock. So if you have 100 of 10 B backs, you can push it where you
Mhm.
can go up to at least double it up, whether it's 20 or 25 or whatever, at least to increase by some more numbers. So it's something that should be highlighted, and where small loans could be afforded to these areas, because the reality is St. Kitts and Nevis, well, let me say Nevis, the honey tastes different. It just tastes different. Nevis honey tastes different. You can line up every honey in the world, can like honey. And when I travel, I
It's the
can remember honey from
vegetation.
Indonesia, and it's just I had this guy, Master Los, who is you know, you supposed to know a gentleman. So he's from Saint Lucia. He's a master beekeeper. We had the man
Matthias, Richard
Matthias,
Matthias.
yes, Matthias.
Yeah,
And Matthias says if Nevis is not producing honey, the world ain't producing honey. And that was something
historically,
serious for
that's how it was in the
yes,
Caribbean.
yes, yeah, you see what I mean? So that was something serious to for that. So it shows that where we're at, we can definitely get back there. So I'm very happy that if it's one thing that they did right is put you in is make that division, and I hope Nevis can you see what's been done and develop that area also. 'Cause I myself did a couple workshop that Ika had sponsored while Augusta Merchant was there. 'Cause at the same time they was making the bee boxes and them out of in an octagon shape, where they
Yeah,
had two
Peru.
master beekeeper, yes, coming from St. Vincent at the time, a younger one along with two young guys for the trade. I think they were around for about 2 or 3 weeks where they did it in St. Kitts and they did it in Nevis. So I was at a part in the Nevis one. I think you was around too. This I'm not sure if you had come up to Nevis or something like that, but a few it was a good workshop. So that was something. I mean, I'm always curious about. I mean, when it comes to the science world and bees and how small they can be so powerful, and dangerous at the same time. So
It's teamwork,
it's
man. It's
something I hope.
teamwork.
Yes. So
Teamwork, the bees them get us.
I hope you get a bigger budget where you can get more staff, and where we can have we can have honey in abundance, where we can have it stack up and have honey at age if you want to have it at age and in different stages. And so, well, this honey is over 10 years old, can you can have that demand, because it's there, the demand is there, and I must again give kudos, and the minister need to highlight that part more when he get an opportunity to speak. But and it's a small, it's a small animal, but he's a big giant. And without that, the sector can't strive without it. So it should not be
Small boy
overlooked. So
Talawa.
yes, I so big up yourself in that. I mean, you're paving a big part, and to be the one heading that department, and so all eyes on you. So and you're a young person, so I admire that. And I must say, Fleming make a good move. He chose the right person, and somebody who is passionate about the area. So you just need the extra support behind you to continue doing what you're doing. And they should make sure you got a vehicle mark and whatever unit you're on with the design of the bee and the importance of it. So when we call it the water department have the thing on the truck, water is life. Well, your unit need to have on something with a logo, with whatever logo you come up with, or whatever it is, can be a part of that. So the public know that when they
A
see,
nice
okay, yeah,
capital project.
of
Plan done there
course,
now.
they must,
The building
all
plan done,
right,
but you can't find the money.
yeah.
Maybe
But money there,
somebody out
man.
there could. Well, that's what I
No,
say.
man,
You
don't
got
find
you got the platform, you know. So
the money
somebody
there,
could
right
find the
there.
deal.
The money
Okay,
there. Dr. Joe spend
it's
the
just how
money.
we
Samal
spend.
spend the money. Yeah, the money there, man. Spend the money. Yeah, the sector
Right,
need the bees in a virgin, so they can't avoid that. You
definitely.
see what I mean? So, all right. Yes, son?
Well, I'm just hoping that eventually, maybe some sort of collaboration can be done, and you can maybe find somebody in Nevis in the Nevis arm that we could make this a more holistic approach, especially seeing that based on, and it's not anything in terms of the petty Sinkis Nevis thing, but just based on the fact that you would have highlighted the reason behind Nevis to have that different flavorful and maybe medicinal and all these different aspects of the honey, because of the fact of the natural vegetation that's found on Nevis versus that which may be found on St. Kitts. And you're right, because I guess a lot of the lands on St. Kitts continued over the years to be grass, in the sense of cane. Cane was a grass too. And then after the sugar cane, then you would have had a lot of those lands were just cane grass, versus on Nevis, where you said you will see a lot more bush, and the vegetation is much more than just those cane grass. And so thus responsible for some of the kind of honey that we have. And so there is that need for us to revive that. Yes, there's a beekeeping corp and so on here, and their members here. I like we would have mentioned, we don't think that there is actually a specific thing from the ministry side, whereas on St. Kitts there is that. So I'm hopeful that you may be able to encourage the Nevis to set up something and have that sort of collaborative effort in the future.
Well, I really do hope that happens. So I think the director of agriculture is aware. Historically, we've had discussions on that in terms of through regional projects. Beekeeping has been in the spotlight regionally for a few years now, and we've had consultants come. That's how Bank would have got into contact with Mr. Tyers. He would have also had other consultants come for the agriculture scoping study before the regional policy, which we would have presented at CWA recently. So as I said, beekeeping been in and around the Caribbean for the last few years. You know, it's been on a little up and up, trying to build capacity, increase production, increase laws to avoid fraudulent honey and these kind of things, you know. So I would hope that maybe they find somebody in forestry that likes it and they could fit in. Might not be your job title, because it's not my job title, but it's a function of my duties, you know, when they hit you with the and any other duties or something like that. So yeah, so maybe you find somebody from like that unit in is that likes and is willing to adapt that piece, and they could tailor some kind of working relationship for that. Uh, However it works, I'm not sure, but I also know there are some good beekeepers over there, um, competent, knowledgeable, all kind of personalities, but there's knowledge around. So if persons can get
Yeah,
it to
and
the government, let that stop you. You know, you can find a way to get
yes,
the knowledge and get access to the inputs to make a start and then advance, you know, for the sake of
yeah, and
production.
I'm seeing some other young people here in Nevis getting involved. I am very much impressed with the work I see produced or the products I see from a principal of a school here, young female
Ah,
principal
yes,
of the
yes,
grade
yes,
10
yes, yes, yes.
primary school. Chrislyn Jeffers doing some great works. See her battling and her packaging and labeling and so on, well professional and up to date and so on. And it's quite interesting when you have like that caliber of person involved in the industry and in that um, area where they could be of major influence as well because she's seen by a lot of young children and so on and interact with the parents and so on and so people like those can be used to help to motivate and inspire more young people to get involved and I am quite impressed with her work and I am publicly mentioning that and hoping that could help to encourage more people to get involved and really capture our honey and bring it back to the level where, as you mentioned, it was known regionally and even internationally. Um, as honey, as Banky mentioned, the expert that came said in the past that if Nevis didn't have honey, the world didn't have honey. And so that's the kind of
Caribbean.
level
Chances
and
are the
respect.
Caribbean. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Question. So let's walk us through when it before we get the finished products. How does the bees them get together from collecting the pollen to building the comb and all and different stuff, and then when from when they start with the pollination, collecting the pollen for food and different stuff,
Okay.
and the type of bees when the harvesting start, and then after that, when you don't produce all this honey, how you clean up the mess there? I was curious about how when you don't use the equipment there, how you get them back clean and shine, and how they work, how you get that they do. Explain the part when you're done, the last
So
part.
sorry, I can't draw the equipment closer to me in a corner over there, but the extraction equipment.
Yes,
But I'll run it down
the
from the
clean.
start. So I have that
Yes,
denoted to
I.
as bees as a farming venture. So that's how we're gonna approach the topic, right? So beekeeping. Yes, the agricultural venture it's an agricultural venture. So bees. What is the purpose of bees? I'll let you back it up. What are bees? Bees are some insects. What is their function for us? Are they what they benefit to us. Then we get honey. They give us propolis, which is an antiseptic, basically a resin, a glue made out of different tree resins. It's antiseptic, antifungal. We use it to make lozenges, to clear throats, that kind of thing. So to get into it, or the start of it is that the bees them will go out and they start as a swarm, which is a cluster of bees with a queen or multiple queens in it. And the queen is the only female that is actually reproductively viable. Once she's mated, she can then produce other female or male bees to create a hive, right? And bees go out, they find a cavity. So now we're just domesticating them. So we're giving them a cavity which are set size, a set dimension, movable frame so that we could manipulate them. And once they're in the box, they have the females. They're going to go out, find food, which is mostly carbohydrates from nectars, that's sugars to keep it simple, and protein from the pollen. That the same pollen that they're moving around pollinating with, they're collecting most of it and storing it on the hind legs. If you ever see a bee with some little colorful ball on the back legs, that is pollen what they gather from all the flowers. Bring that back to the house. They're going to put that into the cells, the comb. But before they put it in the comb, they have to bring in the nectar, take the nectar, ingest it, and they produce wax, which is really just like a fat, like how we store fat when we get a lot of food. Well, they excrete the fat, kind of like we sweat, and they nibble it, they mold it, they put together, they chain themselves together as a measurement. They use their body as a unit of measurement, and they build out the comb, hanging with gravity. They build the comb. Once they build out that wax comb, they then could put things in it, like a pantry. So now once they have enough comb now, the queen could lay in it, they can store sugars in it, they can store pollen in it. They have a house with a stock pantry. Okay, now once they have the pantry stocked, they could afford to produce more children, more young, because they could afford to feed it. Once they could afford to feed it now, they start to increase in population and increase in population once they have an abundance of nutrition. Now, we domesticating things again. So now we have to understand they're gonna go and go and go in population, and the objective is to reproduce, because that's the objective of most living things. But now we don't want them to reproduce because they're gonna fly off. Remember, I say start with a swarm. They're gonna fly off, and we ain't gonna be able to capture the resources that they're coming in with. So what we do? We give them more space in the box, and we get them build more comb, so that now they can put more honey or more nectar in it. And what they do when they put more nectar in it is they vibrate. Just like you shiver, they get hot. They fan out the heat. So you know, like you got a room, a joint room, and you control the humidity, you control the circulation out here. Just that they're doing in there, them small little things. They know, well, the temperature needs to be 97 degrees, or it needs to be XYZ. So they work out the ventilation and the heating to cause that. And what does that does to the nectar now? It causes the nectar to lose moisture. The moisture comes out of it and goes into the ear. Now they push the ear out of the hive. So now they're reducing the moisture content of this honey, of this nectar, because it's not honey until it's below 20% moisture. I think Yasan and Banky, you could understand the importance of a low moisture content, because it helps to preserve a product to make sure it's shelf stable. But once they do that now, that is honey. When they done make all of that nectar thick enough, low enough moisture that it is shelf stable, you can leave it out, and once the ants don't get to it, it ain't gonna spoil. It's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, because so much sugar in it, not to afford to grow in it at that concentration. It is acidic because it has different acids in it. Oxalic acid, it has different naturally occurring acids in it, and that creates a environment that honey, things, a lot of bacteria, a lot of organisms cannot grow in honey. So it's acidic and it is very concentrated. So now once they have that, that's honey. So now the harvesting portion of it now, In the old time days, you get a piece of comb or cone, as some people would call it, and it's full of honey. It's sticky, rich, liquid, right? And what they would do is they'll crush it up. They'll crush it up. They'll squeeze out the honey like, you're washing dishes or squeezing out a rag. You press it together and you get out the honey. You run it through some kind of fine mesh to get out any little particles, and then you have honey.
Wow.
Modern days, you could use a wine press and manually screw it down and get it to force out with through a filter, just like how coffee goes through a filter paper. Or now more modern still, we use extractors, mechanical extractors, which will spin like a washing machine. And if you understand physics, a little bit of physics, a little the G's, the G force, that that force that exerted on things when you move them fast, that causes the comb to spit out the nectar because the comb has a specific angle on it. If you point that angle out and you spin it, it forces the liquid to fly out, just like if you spin a wet shot, it's gonna flick out. So now the liquid goes out, it hits the side, the drum, the extractor drum, it rolls down, comes down to the bottom of the drum where it accumulates, it gathers, it pools, and then open up the top and the bottom and it comes out, you filter it again, put it through some kind of fine mesh again. So now you have raw honey, and raw meaning it is not pasteurized, it is not highly processed, it is just raw, filtered. So for small particles, it still has the same microbes, it still have the same pollen in it, all those micro um, features that make it endemic to your area. It has the pollen in it, it has the acids, and it has all those little beneficial features that would tell you, hey, it's from this place, and it is this nectar or that nectar because it was not heated. I think you guys know if you heat things beyond a certain point, it kills the good and the bad bacteria. It's now safe, like with milk, but you just denature it. You take out all the good probiotics, all the enzymes, and so like in the case of milk. So that's the process from establishment of the hive, build up, production of honey, harvesting of honey, and then honey is food, so you have to use food safe equipment, food safe materials. That's why we said food grade plastic, stainless steel, because it's also an acid. If you use normal metal, it's gonna rust it. You're gonna rust it, and then when you're done using stainless steel, you wash it off with water. Wash it
Just
off good
water
with water.
alone.
Just wash it off good with water. The wax, the warm
Fresh,
water. If
a
you
fresh,
got wax on it,
uh-huh.
you just use
A
warm
pressure
water and
washer.
the wax will melt. No, you ain't gotta use a hose. That's enough force for the honey. If you got wax
Take,
on the metal now, the wax gonna stick to the
yeah.
metal because it the
I'm
metal
just
is
always
warm and
curious.
the wax will melt.
I was
Pardon?
just always curious how they clean up. I was just always curious how they clean the machine. Kind of honey is sticky, so I wasn't sure they use a liquid, like you do in engine, you add the grease or something like that. Cause can you want? So,
Water,
yeah,
man.
I just never know. Yeah, that's why I just
Yep.
glad you asked.
We,
But
we here to learn, man. We here to learn. As
yeah,
simple as water, and it's
okay,
sugars. So you're gonna go into solution. You're gonna dissolve into the
I get
water and
you.
you get it out. And if you want to, you
Of
get a
course.
little soap, not a harsh soap. And then before next
Mm-hmm.
time you rinse it again before you use it, because you don't want any of that soap in your honey.
Of course,
And then
of
of
course, of
course, as
course.
food, you have bottling standards, labeling, and this and that. Honey is we got a tendency of speak about honey in liquid volume, like rum bottles, but honey globally should be measured it by weight, grams,
Mm-hmm.
pounds, kilos, that kind of thing. But it's our culture. That's the way it is until it changes, until people conform to it. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, but from beginning, from collecting
Mhm. From the
the pollen
swarm.
and the nectar, yeah, till the
Mhm.
harvest. What is the time when the honey is ripe, as you call it? What time span? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? What time span?
Okay, beekeeping is a dynamic thing. ain't just no set time, is seasonality.
Okay.
Like right now, I could get honey by middle of summer, like June. Maybe I harvest or two, depends on how my management is. If my bees were strong enough, the glycity or them pink flowers that you're gonna see later down, those pink flowers there could give me a,
They start
a
already,
honey.
but my farm full of them around me, full of them.
Yeah,
Beautiful. In
they should
bloom now.
last until middle of February to the end of February. Every year, that is one of the things that are quite um, standard. This is another thing you have to do as a beekeeper. You have to know what is blooming and when, so you can prepare your
Yes.
livestock. Not, some people go vex me if I call bees livestock, but you have to, you have to prepare your stock for the time when food is going to be in abundance. And then after that, you have logwood, them yellow trees were all on the bypass in Nevis. And then you're going to have guinea
Yeah.
after that. And then you're going to have neem before guinea. And, you know, all these kind of things, you have to
But what
understand
about
what is the
carambola?
vegetation.
Carambola always
That blooms all
flowering.
the time. Yeah.
So why not create a arched area with just carambola if you want to keep bees honey around? Would that be enough? If you start thinking like that?
You have you have you have 40,000 acres to plant in Carambola. Bees travel a 3 mile radius, and the 40,000 might be
Yeah.
inaccurate. But
The prime
what's
minister
that?
donate must 30,000 acres for what name again? King Harry, when he come and sing it when Timothy was there, and the unity of Brimstone Hill area, the whole rainforest to 30 something thousand acres as national park nonsense to King Harry when they went a pass through. I remember that specific. So check it out. So the land there,
Which
that's the whole
which which
point.
which national forest you say? In Saint Kitts?
Over beyond Brimstone Hill, yes. You don't know that. And the team Unity, they donated
I know the
a whole,
the Central Valley
over
Reserve is. I don't know what the geo. I don't know what the politics is
well,
on it.
check it out. That's a national park for King Harry, Prince Harry, whatever his name. Check it out, you'll see. Thousands and thousands of acres, over more than 30,000 acres alone. I don't know how you get that. Though. Yes, I spoke about it already at the show too. Come in, your son.
Yeah, I would
But
have heard
we're
of.
gonna go,
I don't know how much land
we're
it
going,
is, but I know
we're
that
going break at the top of the hour, right? We're going
yeah.
break at the top of the hour, and then we come back, and then we go into the videos and stuff, that the pictures that you have sent to the technician. So I'm just keeping a brief that letting you guys know we're gonna break at the top of the hour. So go ahead, your son.
You muted,
Your
yes, sir.
mic paused.
Sorry, I did hear about that sometime in the past, but I don't know exactly of the amount of land. But I know that the government did give some amount of land to these people, and that you know, as is African Liberation Day and I'm sorry, African History Month. I mean, we sometimes have to bring these things into focus because it kind of highlights the madness. You know what I mean? Like, how could we still want to be giving back, you know, these people things that they kept from us, and we should have been giving to our own people. These are lands that we should have been, as you mentioned there, putting under, you know, cultivation for ourselves. Anyway, that's another story for another time. As we continue, just wanted to look at some of the comments so far. Okay, we got Oliver Libert saying, Oliver looking, says true Rasta. As in Bikamajit says palm trees always stays flowering. That's another one as well. So I guess planting a lot of coconut trees as well
Definitely.
would be you know, a
True.
good plus. And you see, that's why we got to pay attention to our followers and listeners, because you know they're part of the true conversation that we do have here. We don't just, you know what I mean, engage, but we always try to make sure that we pay attention to those who weigh in on the wall, and also who may choose to call in. And speaking about that, if you want to call in on the program in the second hour, the numbers to call in are 1-869 665 8459 or 1-869 662 7196, and those are the numbers to call in. And you're free to weigh in, whether it's on the YouTube platform or the Facebook platform or even the Twitch platform, because we stream simultaneously on those three platforms. So we're live on those three platforms: Twitch TV, Facebook and YouTube, and you're welcome to make your comments there. So my brethren, Janet Girlhouse says good night all. Over on the we got Kizzy locked in. Kizzy showing the signs
big
of
up,
peace. Spiler Flick says great information. And so, yeah, people are locked in, people are commenting, and we do look forward to it. And we try our best on this platform. This is one of the platforms where we do try our best to acknowledge those who do make their comments on the platform. Sometimes, based on the conversations and so on, sometimes it may get heated or it may get but we sometimes, and we really do overlook sometimes our persons on the wall and so on, but we always try our best to. So folks, yes, bear with us if we do overlook that sometimes, but we do acknowledge it here on the platform. We do have a very interesting discussion, and we are going to be looking forward to some of the videos and clips coming up in the second section. But in the meantime, Banky, anything else you want to ask in relation to bees, we can go ahead.
Yeah. I know last year agriculture opened coming up in April, usually in April after the one in Nevis, end of April. So, but last year it kept down just a couple of months ago in October. So how was that activity? I know there was a competition when it come to testing and taste and stuff like that. How was that went up? You yourself usually have some good displays with some transparent glass, and you can see exactly how the bees operate and function. You have a very beautiful setup, which just attract a lot of attention. So I definitely have to big up that area there, which will always be one of my favorite, and always intrigue the general public, the young children and the adults and stuff like that. Just seeing bees up close in a safe environment. I think your area is one that should be more or less up in front. If the first thing you should see is when you come in, they see your area, and not there too much in the back or in certain areas. Because that's, to me, if I come there and see that day, I could leave. Yeah. Once we see bees, me good. So, because that's the most important part. You see what I mean? So I have an issue when it comes to a lot of pesticides, especially those that are going to harm the bees and those different stuff. So I have a look out for the environment, because I understand the importance of when it comes to the pollinators. And it's the same as the gentleman said when he was on the Marcellus. I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Matthias.
Matthias.
Honey is not a sweetener; it is a medicine. So we need to brand that on the honey that we have, and people look at it as a sweetener or wanting to sweeten. No, it's a medicine that cure a lot of diseases and stuff like that. So we need to put that aspect of it.
As a product, you have to be careful what you put on your label, just because of standards, and you're going out to a consumer. You can't put anything that you can't prove on it. But in your marketing, you could build an appreciation for this product. But to put it on the label, you must be careful what you put on the label. Just to be a little, don't know what to call it, but Banky, you remember you spoke about a few thousand acres of bee space. But imagine if you had 100 acres of coconuts and wax apples and Morocco and star fruit and things that bred food. So you could have food, but you could have blooms, because one coconut tree has enough pollen to sustain a hive for the whole of the year, So imagine 100 of them.
The Prime Minister just cleaned 300 acres to plant hot pepper. So you tell the man you want 400 acres to plant all them things there. You understand? I tell you, the man
can't manage the 400 acres. But
no, you do the work. You work out. Well, it's a team. Well, that minor matters. That's what you should. Midday, you're a virgin. Tell the man you need 500 acres of land to plant coconut trees, to plant just what you say you're doing. These are how we're supposed to be thinking in a virgin. This is work forward. We see the world around. They want double population.
Yeah.
But nah, man, you want 500 acres, man. What you talking about? We're planning for the next 30 years, 40 years, we think 50 years down the road, So when this should start to be within 3 years, in less than 3 years, we don't start an industry with all these different stuff, So you're bringing all the equipment one time, So you have to think, as some man think,
Definitely,
so, but continue.
For my smoker.
Yeah, my brother, one second before.
Sure.
1 second before you go, let me just get in this question here on the wall. And then maybe you could respond and they say, how exactly does the bees reproduce? Do they have sex? Is the queen only in that colony? He said, is the only one will reproduce, but is she going to have all the sex? There is no females other than the queen in the colony? LOL. And then he asked, what's the lifespan of a bee in the natural environment? Once the bees make a beehive, another beehive, do they move, or do they, sorry, once they make a beehive, do they die or do they move on to make another beehive another place? So those are two interesting questions that I guess you could put into what you were saying something about the smoker when I interrupted you there.
Sure. No, I was just saying, an easy component to marry it all together is coconut trees produce that fiber that bridge the bow them together. And even the husk itself, that's a wonderful smoker fuel. It's natural. It burns easily. It takes a flame. You pack your smoker well, and that there for hours. I came from my bees a while ago after 5, and when I went out there a little earlier when it dark, the smoker still in the back of my pickup, just a little, smoking. So you get bees, you get coconut, you're reusing the materials that the coconut's producing. Less things go to waste. You make $1 somewhere, you make a product for somebody. But back to the reproduction of the bees. So bees reproduce as a bee is a superorganism. So the colony is really what reproduces, not an individual bee. And what I mean by that is, you see when you see that cluster of bees and a tree and something, that is the hive or the colony, which is the unit of bees, reproducing to create a new hive, which is the body, the physical, well, we put them in box now, so that's a hive. But the queen, there's usually only one queen per colony under normal circumstances. Now, reproduction happens like this. The queen lays eggs, and this would be a queen that is mature.
Hold your point.
Right?
Hold your point there, Manu. Hold your point. Let me take the break. The technician is ready, and then we come back and we finish up the point, and then we go into the pictures and the continuation of Guy. I know this will take some time. So let's take the technician. If you're ready, we go into the break, and then we come back. Beat the summer heat. Come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. Come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag for $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go away. Let's go, people.
So when we come back in, we can come back in with what?
At Shabazz Organics, we believe real
Yes,
people
the show.
deserve real
he was at a
food.
point.
So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
Yes, remember this, the 14th, which is next week, Saturday, the second annual Mansa Fund Day. Come on and support. Remembering Mansa's contribution to the agriculture and the fishing sector. Come on now, definitely will be a place to chill. Just enjoy the farm, see all the transformation, and bring out the family and just come out. We can be on the farm chilling, have some ITL food, have some jelly water, whatever vegetables is available, green banana, plantain, whatever I'm harvesting. will be selling star fruit. Pick your own star fruit and pay. You go at the front, chill by the shop, enjoy the scenery, have some food. 'Cause it's a Saturday, so you get your car meal and fish, your car meal and chicken, charming and oxtail or fish and rice and or whatever a nice cold drink or whatever it is, and just a place to come out and chill. And this, as I say, it's Valentine's Day, the same is to bring out the loved ones and see how the farm have been transformed and what my uncle has been doing over the years. Manu, you could tell what we're looking at?
Okay, so this is a colony right now, like as of today. This year wouldn't mean much to most persons, but to a beekeeper, this demonstrates the strength of a colony. This is the kind of population you need. When I tell you they build up and they build up and then they have to be strong enough to bring in all the nectar. That's two boxes, and each of them boxes got 10 frame in them, and you could see that the bees them covering it to go up in the next box, That's the kind of strength, kind of population you need to have when a flow is on, when the blooms are coming in, so that you could capitalize on the nectar, on the incoming nectar. And the frame that you can see out, you can see on the it's actually on the cover for the box. So how I would do is I'll take off the cover, rest on the cover, tap on the dirt so that I can put the box on the inner side of the cover, so the box is never touching the dirt. And the frame that you can see is actually honey. It's actually some honey from the season before, so it's a bit darker. The wax is darker, but that just illustrates the kind of strength. And then the dark rim around the white in the box is actually what I was talking about, propolis, big glue. They use it to seal everything together and to sanitize everything. Yeah. Next one is a vine that is blooming right now. It's called hop vine. That's what I found it online as. I think it's indigenous to Florida and some of the Caribbean. Produces a good bit of florets, and it's also a sign, hey, well, things are blooming. Now, the next picture is the wax foundation that we would use. This is what the Department of Agriculture sells, or one of the items that the Department of Agriculture sells. And this is actually a beekeeper's picture. And see what is behind it? The banana trash. Some person use that for a smoker fuel. I don't like it because it burns your eyes. It's a bit harsh on when you inhale it, when it blows back on you. But this is the wax foundation that you put into the frame of the box, and the bees would draw the comb. They would add wax to that already, that wax, and build the cells them to put the nectar in. So you give them a jump start on the production. As we say, we're domesticating them, so we're trying to make it a little easier for them, so it's more productive for us. Uh, this is something that the Department of Agriculture also sells. Next one, now this is again today. This would have been that frame that is lying down on top of the frame. So just for a little vocabulary, this is a box. This is a hive. Now the outside edge is the box, and all those little pieces in it are called frames. And then so the frame that is lying down on the other frames is actually filled with nectar. You see all the bees on it, all the brown spots is actually filled with liquid. That is probably Gliricidia, which is blooming and pink flowers, blooming right now. And then the white wax down in the box shows you that wax is more virgin, it's more new. They just produced it more recently, and they're also filling it with nectar. So it was just an illustration that bees are gathering food. So a beekeeper should be paying attention to his colonies. They should be giving them space so that they could build more wax. They should be capitalizing on this flow right now. That is a plant that we found blooming out on just on the edge of the forest. And it was actually, I went to visit a farmer, also a beekeeper, and I noticed the flower cluster, the florets. Familiar with the plant, or I wasn't familiar with the plant because I'm new to that area in a sense. But I just noticed that it's putting out new shoots, you could see the light green vegetation. And then I look closer and I saw the flower buds. So now I tried to his attention and he could have been able to tell me, oh, that's white ash. And he gave me the story, he tell me how the bees like it and the fruit is quite refreshing. It is more refreshing than a watermelon. So I said, I can't picture the fruit pod. He said, well, the monkeys love it. Like, it's delicious. It's like a legume, a bean. But just to say, well, these farmer interactions bring knowledge. It's not just extension giving. Sometimes you gotta step back and listen to learn things, to soak in the knowledge, because I don't know it all. But this is now a plant that I've added to my bloom calendar for the department, so I could catalog this in that area and know, well, it blooms in January. And most likely, weather being consistent, it will bloom again around, sorry, not January, February next year. So now I would know how to manage bees in that area. I could better know how to advise people to manage the bees in that area to capitalize on the nectar flow. This is an apiary in that same area, general area, and it depicts colonies at different strength. So the one with the white box, you can see it's 2 boxes high. Those boxes are standardized, so we call them deep boxes because of the depth of them. And you can also see the cluster of bees outside, which gives you an prelude of the strength of that colony. And then you can see the other one down below. There's less bees outside and it has less space inside because it's only 1 box. You have to manage the bees with enough space for them, but not too much, so that it's like living in a mansion with only 2 people. You got more space than you can manage. So you have to balance that. Sometimes I would say it like, if persons who drive manual vehicles, you gotta go through the gears, then you can't skip gear, otherwise you won't have enough compression. The bees won't have enough strength to manage the next phase, the next box, the more space. And then the gray box is what we would call a nucleus colony, a starter colony. 5 frames in it, the same standard frames in it, but just a smaller box, less bees so you could start with. Somebody could buy that box of bees and get started. That kind of thing, just like a seed stock. Like how somebody could buy a goat or buy a young sheep or buy a young cattle. These are things within the industry that could be and will be and are being explored. Just, take time to build. Everything has its people and its timing. Yeah, and then the hive stands are in the apiary. This is another demonstration of different method for hive stands. If you don't want to use blocks and steel to make a continuous stand like the previous one, you could reuse some recycled old tires, get a pallet and rest it on top so that it is level, and then you put your colony on top of it. This is a Department of Agriculture colony, actually, in one of our centers. Yeah, and it's under the canopy more. I would prefer if it was out in the sun, but it's just the location we had working with it. We might thin the vegetation to suit. I will. Yeah, that's what that one is depicting. Now, this is a case of some beekeeping equipment going over to Nevis for a beekeeper. We have unassembled equipment. We have boxes, feeders, and some wax foundation on top of the feeders going over to Nevis. You guys buy a lot of equipment because I tell you, it is very important to have beekeeping equipment readily available when you need it. And this one was actually a case where I had to put in a little extra effort for the beekeeper because he almost didn't get them a Friday afternoon and he needed them for the Saturday to do his work. So I had to make a special effort to make sure they got over the day, so he had them ready for the next day. Just to show the interest in it, This is that same colony from on the pallet stand, and if you look at it, you go see the comb is white because this colony actually started December last year, Christmas Eve. They just flew into a box I had outside my office that we were cleaning back up because the colony previously in it died. And they flew in Christmas Eve, so I said, well, this must be my present for, and come back to check on them later after they were moved I think a week after. And then 2 weeks after they were inspected, and they're full of pollen. All that orange and yellow you're seeing is pollen they would have found in the environment. So they are gathering a lot of protein in preparation to start rearing young. They would have already started rearing young, but they're just collecting it, and they have more than they could consume. So now you're seeing the surplus. But as they start to grow, they will consume more, and you'll see less of it in there. But it's not that they don't have as much, but it's just that they're using it so fast. So yeah. And they go back one slide, please. The contraction that is on the right, the farthest point of the box, is actually one of those feeders when it's assembled and installed. That is for supplementation of carbohydrates, simple sugars, syrup to boost colony growth. Now, that is something that beekeepers have to be aware of and understand what it is they're doing and what are bees, how they operate to properly use it. It's not hard, but it's just old time people never used to use it because bee? What feed bee? What do you mean feed bee? Bee will go out and look for their own food. But if you want them ready for when the bloom is, I mean you have to start feeding them and preparing them before the bloom to capitalize on it. So they will get the nutrition well in advance. And you'd have to understand bee biology or the timeline, how long it takes bees to lay an egg, emerge, come back, that kind of thing, to then know how long it really takes, how long in advance you have to feed to then get them at peak strength for when you need them, and not overfeed them or over strengthen them so that they swarm, otherwise you lose the population. Next slide. And as I said, swarm, this is a case of a swarm, clump of bees on a tree. And this one was a small one, but all the same, it's a clump of bees. It's a swarm, sorry. Yeah. That one actually had one queen in it. She's actually right in the center. If you look good, you wouldn't see it because of the clarity, but I was able to just wiggle my finger in there and see her. But I didn't come prepared for that, so I just left it there. Any other slides? I think the next one is a video. Okay, now this is an aerial shot of the same blooms right actually on my area. Same Gliricidia, sepium, or what we call rainfall locally. This would have been a hive removal I would have done the day before for an allied agency. So as the Department of Agriculture offers that service for government entities and some allied agencies. If it was an outside or private individual, I usually refer them to beekeepers so the beekeepers can make an income or revenue for the service of removing the bees. And simple, well, it might not be simple to some, it might seem simple to some, but this took me a few hours well to do. Chainsaw walk, cut out the tree, make sure, take out all the comb, take out the honey, find the queen, capture the queen, secure her in the box, put all the comb back in the box and secure them in there, put it together, leave the box there for them to, all the bees that are out to come back in and go in the box, take time, you know, take skill, take knowledge. So it's a service that has value. And every time you're going, people want to go with the bees, come and move the problem, and then they're going to say, where you getting the bees? I'm getting the honey. You get any honey in there, you get a little handful of honey out of that. It takes you hours to do. So you have $390 worth of equipment you got to work with, not to mention just your protective gear and the technical knowledge it takes to execute it properly. So people got to value the service that people do. I understand it cost and things are tight, but same way there must be a balance or appreciation of it. That's that.
Yes, that was some very good explanation. Yasan, go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm saying, well, yes, we're gonna get to that, and I'm grateful also that we have you know, ardent listeners, as I keep saying earlier on this evening. Our listeners and persons who write on the wall and so on are well a part of the conversation, and so we give thanks accordingly. In response to one of your questions, I'm gonna read a response, and then you could correct that in your response to answering the question. So we have
And
Tillman.
then he continue, finish up where he was finishing before the farmer question, the question
Yes,
before
that's
we
what I
went
said.
into the video. Yes.
That's the question. That's the question. So what I'm saying is I'm going to respond on the
Okay.
wall, which will lead him
Okay.
into either correcting the response or adding what he is going to add to the response. So he says Bulby Jones, that's still a man. So Bulby Jones, the queen is the only reproducing female in the colony. All newborn females are potential queens and will eventually leave the colony to start their own.
No. So the first piece
Okay.
is accurate in that the queen is the only one who can lay. Okay, so the queen is a female bee. There are three castes of bees in the colony. They're worker, which are all female, but they're sterile. They cannot produce. They cannot produce um, fertilized eggs because they didn't go out and mate. They're not a queen, right? So they can lay eggs in the absence of a queen, but they are gonna become male. Now, the queen is the only bee in the colony once she's mated that can lay viable eggs, which is male. If they are not fertilized, she has that power to fertilize an egg on the spot or in the moment, or fertilized eggs, which produce which produce female bees. They are they are diploid. So there's a term called diploid haploid, which is basically you get one set of genes. You get your father genes or your mother genes. If you have the two, you're diploid, which means you'll be a female bee. If you're haploid, you only have one and a half, which is your father, which is your mother's genes, called the queen late. So that's gonna be a drone. So a drone is really a clone of a queen bee, but not to stray too much. Um, the queen now, the queen has to go out and mate. When she comes out and she emerges as a virgin, she goes out and mate with drones. Then she has the sperm she needs to carry her through the rest of her life as a viable laying queen. Now, there's a little piece in the question that says about the all worker bees, once they emerge, being able to go out and be a queen. No. A worker bee and a queen bee is the same thing up to the first 3 days of after being laid as an egg and emerging as a larva. They're fed the same diet. So any female egg or fertilized egg, which will become a female larva, can then become a queen if the nutrition continues for the full duration of her larval stage. So a female bee could be a queen bee if they feed her queen or royal jelly for the full duration of her 9 days until she's capped, and then she goes into pupa stage for the next 7 days, bringing it to a total of 16 days a queen takes to go from egg to queen bee. I hope that answers the question. So queen
Yeah,
is the only laying
the,
female.
but the question before that you started
How
answering before we
they
went into the break. Before we went into the break, yes, and the question
There was
that
a
we had started.
question, how exactly
it
does
was, it
the
was a
bees, it was a longer question. It was saying, how long the bees reproduce? Do they have sex? Is the queen the only one in the colony? He said that the only one who reproduce, but is she going to have all the sex? There is no females other than the queen in the colony? And that was that question.
Okay, so I answered the
Um,
part is the only female in the colony. No, there are
yeah.
sterile females, which are all the workers that go out and forage and do the cleaning and all the labor of the honeybee colony. The other female is a queen, usually one per colony, per proper colony. Um, the queen bee, she goes out and has intercourse for one. She flies out one time in her life, usually maybe twice, but she mates with multiple drones in that one mating flight. So after she
Mhm.
emerges from her cocoon, from her cell, queen cell, she would take a few days for her to get accustomed to the hive, destroy her sisters, get control of the hive, let her wings harden off, that kind so she could fly, that kind of thing. And then when she leaves the hive, she goes on her mating flight. She will mate with multiple drones. Some studies say a dozen, some studies say up to 30 drones based on University of Florida's study on um, dissection of drones in terms of which DNA is, how much different DNA is in her spermatheca. That is the organ that holds um, the sperm in her body for the duration of her life, which is up to 5 years in the wild, but you don't really get. Yeah, I can't say you don't really get it because I don't mind wild hives, but that's not practical in a production sense because they either swarm or they depreciate in productivity after the second third year of laying, especially if you're pushing them hard, if you're feeding them, if you know, she laying 1,500 eggs a day to 3,000 at peak a day, so she gets burns out. She lays millions of eggs in her lifetime, but yeah,
So
I think that answers.
I think you kind of answered a little bit too in your response to the second question or the second part of the question. What's the lifespan of a bee? And in the natural environment, once the bees make a beehive, do they die or do they move on to make another beehive in another place?
So this swarm, they moving off to the other place now. Um, once, okay, keep it simple. So if the bees them in a space and they outgo it, they're too big now. They have enough nutrition. They tell themselves, okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna find out. We're gonna reproduce. And remember, it's a superorganism, so the reproduction is as a group thing, not as a one bee. So now the whole colony tell themselves they're ready to go. They swarm, which is that cluster of bees leaving the colony. Usually, the mated queen, the older queen out of that colony would leave with a number of bees, maybe about 50% of the colony, and they will try to find a cavity that is suitable. So sometimes you might find them hanging on a tree or somewhere that is they're just resting until they can find a suitable cavity. And before they leave though, the colony would put things in place. Remember I said a female egg, a female larva can become a queen bee if they feed them royal jelly for the duration of their larval stage. Before the queen leaves, they would start putting that in place. They would feed those specific larvae royal jelly in preparation for all those larvae, the different genetics, because remember, it's same queen, but different fathers, different sperm fertilize them. And whoever come out first and is more dominant would win by destroying the other sisters. So once that process is started, and usually around the time that those queen cells are capped, sealed to go into the pupa state, then the older queen would leave with a portion of the colony and find another cavity. So they don't destroy it. They would leave basically the original colony, and the mother queen would go on and find another colony and pioneer um, a new cavity and do it all over again. Would start collect nectar, the bees, then the worker bees build wax. Once the worker bees will build wax, well then they could put food in it, they could start lay eggs in it, they could build colony again over time once they have nutrition and time.
All right, give thanks. Banky, before we get back to any questions, I'm going to go through some of the new comments that have come in, and we seemingly are having some new listeners. Okay, Tillyman, he said, good evening, guys. We have Norman McBilly saying, good evening, gents. Carlisle Paris says, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Real Entertainment. Yes, please do that and click on the notification bell on YouTube and make sure that, we stick and stay with Real Entertainment Network for more educational presentations by Ras Banki and Ras Yason Tafari. Have a wonderful African History Month. And that's the comment there from Ras Carlisle Paris. Bless up Ras Ujima. Enough respect, an ardent listener or the ardent follower here on the platform. Lyndon Stewart says, good evening, beekeepers. Greetings from Georgetown, Guyana in South America. Carlisle Paris says your guest is very knowledgeable in his subject matter. Beekeeping, thanks, and keep up the great works. So, like I said, my brothers, people are listening, and we do appreciate, the comments, and we do appreciate those who come on the platform. And when you make your comment, we actually do acknowledge your contribution to the programming. Banky, anything you want to follow up on with Mano? You're on mute. You're muted. Your mic is muted. You're still muted, Banky. Okay, so Banky probably is having some technical difficulty on his side, but quite a lot of information, Mano, and I am definitely learning a lot, and this reminds me of an experience I had when I was in Canada working for Afria, working for one of the biggest cannabis companies out there. They're now called Tilray. But when I worked for them, I got an opportunity to work within the integrated pest management section, right? And
Nice.
I got kind of up close, because what they did in terms of pest management, they focused more on biological means of dealing with the pests for the cannabis. So it was no chemicals that they used.
Ladybugs and them kind of
ladybugs, they were bringing in some what caught me specifically, right? There was a bug that they brought in, and how that operated is that it laid its eggs inside of like one of the aphids, and so that it actually grows, and then when it comes out, it destroys that whole aphid. But
so it parasitize it.
Yes. What it did for me though is show me how significant like that like small creature world that we sometimes think is so insignificant. But having to take the time to learn about it and learn how they work and how they operate is like there's a whole different world when it comes to these little creatures. So that's one of the things that listening to you and learning about the bees and how they function and how they live and so on. These are things that generally we take for granted. It is only if you are definitely like involved in those areas, and it's only because actually I had to work in that area, and I had a kind of interest as well. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about what I was doing instead of just putting out these things. I wanted to have an idea of okay, why and how does this work, and so yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, being a beekeeper, it it just adds perspective. It adds perspective. It's like you appreciate the little microbiology. Like as a farmer, especially as you, like as an organic farmer, I could imagine you appreciate soil science, microbiology, fungi, mycorrhizae, all these things that help to really make dirt, soil. But as a beekeeper, you have to appreciate entomology and a bit of um, plant, what you call that, like forestry and them kind of things, because you must appreciate the plants. You must appreciate the insects. So it just adds a different dynamic to how you have to look at things to really navigate it. It makes you a botanist.
And
yes,
a
botanist
and
and
you,
an
you get to
entomologist.
see how they connect, and you get to see how all these different aspects connect. Um, you know, these are areas, and I think as we're having this conversation, I'm hopeful that a lot of young children and young people and those who are in school and so pay attention to these programs and so on, because these are some of the areas and aspects. Because I taught agricultural science in school as well, and I would have taught, in terms of job creation and so on, careers in agriculture. These are some of the things and areas that our young people can get involved in and are not necessarily so competitive like like being a doctor or being a lawyer, where when you come back now, you have to be competing in such a wide field. If you go to study becoming an entomologist, how many entomologists do we have around here, to compete? But it's still an area that is very much needed. I mean, I think
Globally, to find
the
space
sister,
globally.
yes, the sister in I Queen, I think she studied some level of entomology. They were asked to
Really?
make the ice cream. Yes,
Yeah, I'm
from
full. I
yes,
know, man. I know good. I know good.
yes. So
I didn't know that.
but there's a lot of people there's not a lot of people, sorry, who are involved in some of those aspects and areas and so on. But yes, young people, there's a lot of scope in agriculture. There's a lot of areas that you can get involved in, and a PERI is what the term the bee industry as,
Apiculture,
and so right,
apiculture.
apiculture,
AP like Apis mellifera, so the scientific name of
right,
bees, and then culture, just like permaculture,
right,
whatever other agricultural venture. Yeah.
right. So it's something for you to consider, um, and there's a huge future. I mean, and here's the other thing that we also have to highlight as well: honey can't spoil. So it's a product when created, so to speak. You have a lifetime shelf life. So
Do
if you
it
get
right,
into that
and you
industry,
got it. Rest it down till
for,
next
for
year, and yeah.
forever, forever. And so food for thought. We're doing this program, we're sharing information, and we at the same time seeking to empower and encourage our people to get involved in the agro investment. As we continue, Oliver Libert says, Truman. Winston Welcome says, Mr. Welcome is listening. Norman McBilly says, Monroe, where do you keep your bees? Oliver Libert says, Linden, good night, bro. Um, Linden says, love this forum. Greetings to you, Monroe, and the members of the panel. Norman McBilly says, nematodes. I guess maybe he was referring to something I was talking about before. Lever Libert, greetings.
So Linden,
Oliver
Oliver,
Libert
the
says,
man I'm watching, and
Oliver
ladies.
Libert says, true, Ras, you're so right. Um, yes, and so yeah, we have folks listening and paying attention, and we do give thanks and look forward to always having new people on the program, as Carlisle would have reminded us. Carlisle Parish reminded us to go and just remember while you're here to share, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you're updated whenever we have a program on the platform. Um, you are at this point really holding a big position right now. It might seem simple to a lot of others, but as Banky highlight, I strongly suggest that you recommend that they do brand that pickup and make sure you put on that big B on it, and you get your tagline or something so that people understand when they see this thing roll around that bee business is serious business. Um, I love the fact that you guys are so serious with this that you're going out of the way to make sure that those who get involved and want to get involved would not find it that difficult, because you guys are making the equipment available. And I guess if you do it in bulk and so on, then you make it affordable as well, right? So I am truly impressed, and I'm grateful that you are here with us on the platform to share the knowledge, and I'm hopeful that after this show we could have, I guess I would want you to, while we're doing this, have you probably give your information and how people can reach out to you, because I'm sure that folks who are listening may be interested and would want to get more information after the program, and also seeing that they realize that you mentioned that equipment is available. As you mentioned, it might not be in bulk right now, but as the interest increase, then you may just have to go back to the minister and say, hey, like, you tell me to push this industry, and I'm trying to push this industry, and people are responding, so we got to find the money from somewhere to make this thing happen, So,
Right.
yeah, so you could share your information, even if you don't want to give your personal information. It could be where they could reach out the ministry or whatever it is, and if it's email or whatever it is, however they can reach you for further information if they want to.
All right then. So thanks for the opportunity again. I would say you could find me at the Department of Agriculture, Lagreet, and the veterinary or the livestock side. If anybody know how the property is set up as you come in the driveway, we're on the right hand side there. That's where the equipment is sold to. The number for that office is 467. You mightn't get me direct. The number for that office is 467 1835. My office number is extension 1837, so 467 1837. You could contact me via email, manueltweed25@gmail.com. If you send me an email, let me know who you be, general context, that kind of thing. So a name, a context, what's the intention for the communication. Yeah, I wouldn't give out numbers because you're gonna ring down. You're gonna yeah. The cooperative is also an opportunity to an avenue. Well, if you come to me, I'll say I'll get you to somebody for the cooperative. If you want mentorship when St. Kitts, or if however, we'll see. I'll see how I could assist and that kind of thing. Because the cooperative needs members that want to learn, that have the time to be willing to dedicate towards, whether it is the development of a space, which is the current objective right now, to some SGP funding. We would have been able to secure a property that was leased to us from the Department of Agriculture. So we are in the process of developing in that. If we have young minds, old minds, capable persons that want to join, partner, participate in terms of that under the guidelines of the cooperative, we welcome that. Yeah, that is an opportunity there for persons to learn how to whether cultivate the land, utilize space, do beekeeping. Value addition is in the pipeline, wax production, candles. You have members that do wine and little other things, So it's not wide and diverse, as I should not say wide and diverse. It's not really pushing big yet, but the core is there. So now it's just to expand, see who fits where, and then push again, and then get accustomed to your size, and then push again, and develop strategically. I had a few more points I would like to touch on, but I'll give you back the mic, and then if when I have the opportunity, I'll go to the other 3 points just briefly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, go ahead, but just before you go, I hear smiling because I am just taking the time to fully read your shirt, Beekeeper, farmer, plus crazy. That's quite interesting. I guess later on, after the 3 points, you could maybe explain the crazy part to us. But go ahead with the points. You got the mic right now.
All right, then. So the points, how I had them, it's 4, but I touched on one already. So it was byproducts, technical advice, the local group movements, and youth in agriculture. And basically the byproducts, I mentioned them already. So you have honey, you have wax products, you have cosmetics, we have you can do alcohol, mead, original alcoholic beverage from ancient days, because alcohol is just fermented sugars. Then you have more complex things like venom, bee venom, propolis, as I mentioned, which is the big glue that you could distill with alcohol, food grade alcohol, to create lozenges or tinctures. This more medical stuff. You can do topical creams like a little plug to the local producer Floriel or Yaffine, who does value addition stuff, who does soaps. You also have a member that does soaps and experimenting with that. And the wax, the fats. Wax is really fats, solid lipids, so that is a base in a lot of soaps. And honey is a component of a lot of these cosmetics because it's can't even simplify it. It's hemostatic. It absorbs moisture easily, so it it pulls moisture, it retains moisture. Yeah, so in terms of opportunities for products, you don't have to be the primary producer. You could take it and add it. You could support your beekeeper so that they have the whether finance, manpower, capacity, or location. Many beekeepers just want a place to put the bees that is safe out of the general public's way. But so somebody could contribute, but you have a land there that you ain't doing nothing with this fence, but you ain't doing nothing with. Let a man put 4 colonies on it responsibly and that kind of thing. Have some kind of terms and conditions as a contribution there, and then you could move towards by products by that is a way. Technical advice is much of what I gave tonight, and through the extension service, I would hope, not hope to, I will put on some trainings during the course of this year. I intended to put on one for this month so that when I came to Banky, I could have said, Banky, is this date, and it's at the large conference room in Lagreed or whatever, but it hasn't been scheduled yet, so I would have to share that with the general public via another medium. But definitely just to get persons who are in beekeeping to get this knowledge to them, and then persons who are interested to really come in, see if this is what you're interested to, see if you're capable of actually keeping bees, whether it's financially, time-wise, you have an allergy or something, them kind of things. Because ain't everything for everybody, with all due respect. So yeah, the department has the capacity to, it's only me, but you have the capacity because when I came, one of the initiatives I would have suggested and got the support on is developing demonstration apiaries so that we could, in the future, have a space that we control as the department to share this knowledge to people. So we have 2 apiaries that have bees on them that we could that are one is centralized, so you could say have a group of persons come and do some beekeeping or have a general learning session there once the cogs them start to align better. Yeah, that technical advice. I have about 2 documents that I need to distribute to beekeepers. One is the bloom calendar, like how I could just rattle off what should be blooming when. That is something that I would display for the open day coming up, as well as a data or record keeping Excel sheet. It's already developed. One beekeeper in Nevis, I guess I owe him it since December. I tell him January I will give him. So I guess when I come off this, I got to send him it. And any other beekeeper that have direct contact with me, reach out for that. It's for I. It's for us. So you get the Excel sheet with colony number, colony identification, date when it was colonized. You get it should have not sure it has inspection dates, a comment section for it, what was done in terms of the just record keeping stuff. Um, that's the intent for distributing technical advice. And then, of course, when persons come for equipment, I would always ask them, what you really want, how you go about, see if I could tell you this box, that box, these frames, these ones, and we're best to set up on that kind of things until I could get out to mesh with the timing of the farmers. Because, a lot of persons running at 8 to 4 at the same time. So my 8 to 4 is extension. Your 8 to 4 is something else. So I can't meet you at the site. So then, beekeeping is one of them things. Most beekeepers wouldn't practice to go in somebody else's hive without them present or their consent. So I could come and visit your apiary, but I ain't going in your box unless you tell me. Yeah. And honestly, you're supposed to manipulate your boxes more than me doing it for you. Local group movements, I would have mentioned the cooperative, the St. Kitts Beekeepers Cooperative doing their thing. I know Nevis is trying to get a group up and running. It was registered as an association, I think, Nevis Beekeepers Association. I'm sure they could use some strength, some more willing members, whether it's dedicated beekeepers or young persons or middle-aged persons who want to contribute in some way based on their bylaws or their objectives. Um, they could reach out. They could reach out for that too. Ask who's in the organization. I think Atta is in it, so banking was at and that kind of thing. Most persons in Nevis not at, so you could reach out, see if you're interested in joining, if you would fit in, if you would, you know. And then youth in
Quincy Bart
agriculture.
also is a part of it.
Okay, then see, so you have somebody in the department as a part, you have a private person that is known, the persons on the ground could find their way to that resource then. And then just the topic of youth in agriculture. Just say that to say that we need persons actively doing things and we need persons that know how to do things. And this ain't the time for us to be idling as a nation, as people. We gotta come up. We ain't gonna run before we walk, but just do it. Just do something. Just try start. Fumble your way through it. There we go. Agriculture got space in so many different avenues and angles, and it's not just production. It's technical advice. It's solving a problem for somebody in terms of a tool. Is geez.
Product, product
Hell about
development,
that.
product development, yeah, value added products. I mean, so there's a lot of different aspects
Able
that you can do.
for somebody is
Right,
these little things. Is the business plans if you want to flesh out business plans for people? Is
right,
the networking? Is the transportation of goods and services simple as a ton hand might seem? Beekeeping has showed me, given me regional reach where you see persons from Guyana can reach in. I could call somebody in Dominica, St. Lucia, Montserrat, almost all of the islands, almost all of the OECS islands, if not all the OECS islands and some of the CARICOM islands, USBI. So find a niche in agriculture and just chip away at something that has value. Everybody might not see it, but chip away at something. Support the people that support you. Support yourself to empower yourself. That kind of thing. Okay, so that's what people just messaging me, telling me, asking for the document I would have spoke about. All right, then we'll get it. We'll get it. Tonight.
all right. So okay, so I'm gonna go back to some of the comments. Someone said they would love to see this discussion once a week, so we can share our beekeeping knowledge. I mean, this is how interested people are about this. But what we can say is we hope that you subscribe to the platform because this program is called Everything Agriculture. And so every week we do something in relation to agriculture. So it might not necessarily specifically be on the topic of bees, but it would definitely be something on some other maybe aspect of agriculture. What we may agree to or can agree to is maybe a time when, with permission of Manuel, that we can come on a regular basis. Maybe if he decides once a month or twice a month, every other month, to come back and give some updates. I know he mentioned
Maybe
when he's ready.
quarterly would be more realistic.
Okay.
Maybe a quarter every anyone say half.
Okay.
Maybe a quarter.
Well, and I remember while you were speaking earlier, you were saying there's something that you would have to announce, but you haven't done it yet, but you might do it on another forum. I want you to know that this forum is open to you as well. So if you need to come back to give an update or report on something or put something out, you're free to, pass that information to us and we can help in that regard as well too.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
I'll take it.
Tillyman says bees numbers are in decline worldwide. I keep telling Banky to plant some flowers on his farm. Just plant flowers in general. What other methods are there to help regenerate the numbers?
Good stewardship, bees.
Okay.
Preserving the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem, and good stewardship of the bees that we domesticate. The world problem isn't our problem necessarily, yeah?
Okay, so more questions popping in. Mano, is the honey flow on that, at the movement in your island? Our honey flow in Guyana concluded in January and will continue in March, April to mid-June. This will be our short flow period. So is the honey flow on? Oh, is
You
it
understood the
on
question.
at the moment? Okay, right. So he's asking. So the question is the honey flow on at the moment in the island? So is there's a flow going on at this moment?
Yeah, it's not peak though, but it's like a pre-flow from yeah, as a term as a beekeeper, it would be like pre-flow. Um, Glory City, I think everybody that has that plant in the island or the nation know it's a significant nectar producer. I think one of my colleagues in Grenada would have mentioned it's about 34% sucrose or sugars. So it's worth the bees them effort to harvest it or collect it. And so that is blooming. And then we see vines blooming from October. We had two stick, and then a cassia vine, and now we have rainfall at Glory City, Wood, and then a few Jamaican caper right now. So a few things are blooming, and it will continue into the summer fruits them as we get to neem and guinea and that kind of thing. And peak in, well, not peak, but go on to June, July. I'm still compiling my bloom calendar, so I won't say what is the peak time for our flow. I don't want to, yeah, I wouldn't say that, but I'll see how management goes and when is the honey flow. Because I've gotten honey in July. I've left Ireland and come back, make honey in the boxes. Like, I didn't expect this. Okay, thank you. That's a blessing.
Would
I've
that
gotten
would that
in
have
September.
anything to do with would that have anything to do with as you would have highlighted earlier? Because I wonder if like based on the type of vegetation, because like as you mentioned in St. Kitts, maybe it's more grass versus like on Nevis where you would have a wider array of flowering plants for them to choose from. Um, would that have an effect in terms of the flow, so to speak, versus where it might instead of there's a slowdown period because okay, we have like for example a mango season and then also sometimes as soon as mango goes you have guava, sometimes as soon as guava goes you have something else and something else and something else. So that may have an effect in terms of the flow, so to speak, you think?
Well, definitely, that is what the flow is. The flow is when these things come in mass, when there's a lot of things, a lot of resources, a lot of nectar coming in at the same time. So, as I said before, that is why you need to learn what is blooming in your area and what time. And then after you know that, it might take you a few seasons to develop which one is really beneficial, develop the understanding of which one is really beneficial to your bees. That's why I said beekeeping is something I'll just tell people jump into because you have to learn your area, you have to learn the bees. So I'd rather say you get a mentor and you tag along with them, but you protective gear and you get over the fear of the bees and the stings and you check to see if you got allergies and you know. And then by the time you had been through a one season or two season, your what other thing they went to after slavery, you don't have your apprenticeship. So now you've been seasoned. You you understand that boy is physically demanding. Have to be on point in terms of timing. And then you understand this is the timing. And a lot of us don't get it perfect. And not even perfect. You know they got gaps in the production. We live in life. We got other things doing too. But it just gives you an appreciation of what it really takes. I hope me ain't straight too far from the original question in that yes, it
No,
depends on
man,
what
no,
is
no, no,
blooming. When I say sink,
no,
it's go
definitely.
grass. Not to say it, it we don't have this a lot of the same plants them, but it's the ratio. A lot of our lower lands coming up, it was cane. So in the cane field now you would have wild tamon, Lucania leucocephala, that we call it wild tamon or bread and cheese, that legume that produce that fluffy white pad that's produces a lot
Hmm.
of pollen. And then you'd have grass that could get taller than grass and produce in the ecosystem. And then you have other shrubs that when things graze it low enough, then they could shoot up. I have a vining legume within the grass. But then as you reach to the hills now, you have a different microclimate, and you have primary forest. So all these primary forests that have flowers, they're going to produce flowers in their season. You gotta learn the season based on the rainfall. are based on whatever triggers the tree to bloom, whether it's stress, whether it's heat, you know? That is why it takes time.
Okay, so we are getting closer to that wrap up time, but I'm gonna go through a couple more of the comments here. Carl Paris says, birthday greetings to Bonnie Ruggs, former lead singer of Third World, and also Bob Marley. Sweet reggae music to the world. Yes, enough respect to those celebrating on this day. Norman McBilly asks, do bees still brood this time of year or do they shut down? Um,
They don't
quick
stop him.
response? No stopping. Okay, great. Oliver Lambert, he have to remember
It's
he
the
have
level. It's the
two
nutrition.
hats. Okay, Norman Billy.
Yes, on your audio drop.
Oh, sorry. We have a rainy season from January to mid-February, and then our short honey flow starts. After the mid-June rain concludes, the trees will blossom in mid-August to December, January. So I guess this person probably Lyndon Stewart, I think, is in Guyana. No.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
in
Right.
Ghana.
So I guess the
Joshua,
temperature and I guess the climate has a lot to do with how the bees function and all that. I think
the,
my brother. Go ahead.
the plants, the weather or climate affects the plants. The plants dictate how the bees operate. Because remember, they're
Right.
below the equator. They don't get Guyana. Continental Guyana does not get hurricanes, just like how Trinidad, you know, they're above the where the hurricanes would spin up. So the rainy season would be based on different features, different climate. Where hurricanes typically bring our wet time, something else gonna trigger the wet season, whether it's cold fronts or whatever it may be.
All right. Tillyman says, what you mean the world problems are not our problems? Our bees are not immune to the diseases that are killing the bees worldwide. What you say to that?
Uh, that is true, but that is true, but it's on a different scale. Maybe that's what I should have said. It's on a different scale. Whereas there is mass production of agriculture out there, pesticide, fall brood, we have varroa, but fall brood, sack brood, carrying virus, all kind of other different things that the bees have come down with because of the constant the perpetuation of moving them across country for almonds or for peaches or apples early, just change up the natural movement of bees, and then you'll bring pests back with it. It's just a result of
Right. Right.
large
Right. Right.
agriculture. But
Right.
yes, I understand.
Well,
It's fair to say that we must be conscious of it.
Well, Manuel, I must say that I personally fully, as you would say within Rastafari, full enjoyed the show this evening. A wealth of knowledge, wealth of information, and I think you well, perfectly as well represented yourself in terms of explaining and clarifying and simplifying for even the dilemma and the little child in school. I see Tillyman still willing to engage a little bit, but Tillyman, this is wrap up time. And so we definitely look forward to having you next week with us again. I know you have not been around for a little bit, at least we have not seen you for a little bit. Glad to have you back, enough respect. And I see that you're seemingly knowledgeable about the bees and well interested, and we give thanks. For all those who would have contributed, we also want to say thanks to all of you who would have made your contributions on the platform. For this evening, we also want to, as we wrap up, encourage you, like Carlisle Paris would have encouraged you earlier, to subscribe, share, and click on the notification bell right here on whether it's the YouTube or the Facebook network. We want to thank you, Mr. Tweed, again, as I mentioned, real informative, real, 100%. So give thanks, and we look forward to having you back. You're open to, come back whenever, and we definitely going to look at the quarterly vibes. That sounds, fair enough. Banky, your closing remarks as we wrap up, and then we will probably let me have maybe Mr. Tweed give his closing, and then let you wrap things up. So, Mr. Tweed, you take a minute and give your final wrap up push, for the bee industry, and maybe for your ministry and what you're doing, and how you could encourage more people and younger people and so on to get involved in the bee industry.
Boy. Now we're coming to an end. I don't even know how to say it. Banky, trying to say something? Banky, you think muted if it's so. Okay, I'll give me remark. So, first of all, thank you again, both Yason and Banky, for having me on the platform. It was a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to express myself, to try and send some information out into the universe. And I hope the right persons would have received it, take it on, and it would add to whatever they have. Yeah, it sounds like I hear you just now, Banky.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, well, wrap up to include the different colors of the honey, clear, dark, what would cause stuff during the wrap up one time.
Okay, so just a quick. That's just dependent on what they feed on the nectar source. So like this same pink flower gives a really light honey. Something like mahogany would give a darker honey, and then honey deteriorates with age in terms of oxidizing. So over time it would add color to it. It wouldn't be as clear over time. That's some of the factors. So what is originally from time and yeah, them two things mainly. Yeah, as I say, I hope the information reached open ears, willing hearts, competent people, um, people willing to try, and I would ask that the ministry, the private persons that are capable, take on some part of it. As I said, the sector needs willing and able beekeepers. Those beekeepers need support. They need woodworkers. They need craftsmen that can make affordable equipment. They need laborers. They need places to put bees. After that, the opportunities for advancing. The sector on a whole just not even wants. We need to take food security seriously. Um, Everybody should at least know how to do something for themselves. I am not a builder, but I could plant, I could do things, I understand some sciences. So find yourself a craft, a trade, something that is of value, some, and something that you yourself appreciate also. So if you're doing something that you appreciate or that you like, you'd find to do it a little longer, a little better, a little more diligently. As it relates to beekeeping again, it's coming up, and I would like to see more support, more financial support in the pipeline, more capacity. I would like to see the beekeepers really take up the assets what they have and utilize them for the best ability. Don't squander what we have. The equipment expensive. The hobby, well, it ain't a hobby. The trade ain't easy, but somebody gotta do it, cause everybody gotta do something. For the youth, I don't know what I'm gonna say again for the youths. Them occupy yourself with something productive. Um, Find an old guy to listen to pick up a trade or something. I don't know what to say again, yes, and just thanks and I
Yeah,
don't know.
man. No, enough respect. Enough respect. Enough respect. We give thanks here on the platform as well. Because, like I said, I am very much impressed with and informed this evening with your presentation. So, Banky, your closing, you wrap up.
Yes, first I want to thank those Yason who tune in and listening to Real Entertainment Network and choose to listen to Everything Agriculture Show. It's a Friday evening. You could be out hanging out with your family or with your loved ones, but you choose to have that interest. And most time, Friday evening, nobody thinking about sitting down listening to something educational and something as small, but is a big giant and is being overlooked. So it's important once you're doing anything when it comes to gardening, whether it's in the hotel industry, the farming industry pay attention the type of pesticides and the chemicals you use in that environment, because once you harm the bees, you affect the environment when it comes to your flowers and your honey and your fruiting for your vegetables and all this different stuff. So it's important, and I just want to thank Manu again, our guest. I mean, for taking the opportunity and accepting the invitation for being a part of this show and to share wealth of knowledge to the general public, as we realize they are asking questions, and this is one area I'm very particular about when it comes to farming, because I have tomatoes on my farm, watermelon, cucumber, sugarcane, lot of mango trees, soursop trees, carambola, and sorrel, and all them different stuff. And you need a good pollinator. So it's important that you see bees all. I mean, you keep visited my farm yesterday, and I'm just showing you the bees that are on the farm and stuff like that. This thing is very important to me. So when people using pesticides that are gonna affect the bees and affect your dog and your pets, and even gonna affect the bees, gonna affect you too. And then the wind drift goes up to 7 miles. So you really have to think outside the box and realize if you don't have to spray, don't spray. We have been set in a meditation where most of the extension staff within some department, they encourage you to spray every 7 days, even though you don't have any signs of pests or diseases, which mean you're growing a crop for 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 weeks, you're spraying every week, which makes no sense, which are called preventative measures. That don't make no sense, my virgin. So, Manu, give thanks for the lots of knowledge, the wealth of knowledge you have shared this evening. And as you realize, you're probably getting some calls from tomorrow, some emails and different stuff from the department for those who might have an interest. And you also did enough when it comes to the young one, when it comes to youth in agriculture. I mean, you touched on that, so that was very, very good. So, and the parents them have a part to play also. If they have a youth that not sure, they don't get them involved in the school program where they can have a mentorship and volunteer some time at the department, through the schools, and all stuff like that. Even we have a mentorship area where in the summertime students can work. Those who do agriculture, the agricultural teacher would sign them up if they want a works program to work at the Department of Agriculture in the areas. So that was something going on for years, and then most of them end up and work within the department and go to school and get scholarships and stuff like that. So that can be a part of it and stuff like that. So
I would like to see
again,
more families take up that too.
well, it's a
Farmers
collective effort, it's a national duty
students
and a
too.
collective duty for everyone to take part, and not just no one individual, because at the end of the day, it's our survival, our existence. So these things should be national project and should be encouraged. Whether it's the government, non-governmental organization, just in the community, you got to. I mean, my farm is always open for anyone who want to come and have that interest and learn and stuff like that. You see what I mean? So I had a different approach. I mean, being around my uncle and stuff like that on the farm. It's not always about money in a virgin. You know what I'm saying? People might ask for money, but when you're learning a skill and they get a little stipend for learning, when you're done, you mean you can go on and do your own thing by yourself. The knowledge you're going to be imposed, and I mean, I'm only this skillful because I'm always have a mind frame wherever I'm in. I'm going to accept and have the will to learn and learn fast and listen. So these are just simple things. So it's not like I just wake up overnight and just have all the skill set. It means I pay attention to my environment, listen, and not name harder. Once you're in an environment, you're learning to do something, eventually you're going to get it. And that's just how it is. So again, thanks for those who tuning in and their response and stuff like that, and their comments and their accommodation, and greatly appreciate you guys tuning in again. Yeah, Mono.
No, just why I harped on the youth. I'm 28. I didn't mention it. I'm 28, but done thanks to the Department of Agriculture and Beekeeping, I've done a little bouncing around the people say the world, but the Caribbean, and I must say we got a lot of potential. No joke. We got a lot of potential. We just put pieces together and make it happen. The Caribbean as a region we people, we have resources, whether in the land, in ourselves, in the knowledge that we gather out there in the diaspora and then bring back. And yeah, I'm still under 35, so I count as a youth. That's why I just kind of brought up that. That's all. So I don't have
Okay.
the last say.
No,
No,
man,
I
that's,
think I
no, for sure. No. I want to give the last say. I want to give the last say too because there was a question I asked earlier on and I didn't get the full answer. So, well, not full, get the full answer. We kind of got away. The beekeeper, farmer, crazy point.
oh,
So, end with that.
uh,
Explain that and let's wrap it up.
okay, so I'm a beekeeper, and as a result, I'm a farmer because I'm farming bees. And some people would say, "But you're crazy to be going there. You don't get sting. You don't. Me ain't gonna raise no bees, but your head not good. Man, mm-mm." So that's where it is.
um,
I think I saw the shirt in Miami on a official travel, and I say I had to pick it up.
I
Yeah.
love
okay,
it.
before we go,
I love it.
Yason, let me
Uh-huh.
say next week Tuesday for those who tuning in will be our guest will be Hazel Brandy Williams. So definitely share the word that our guest will be. Definitely looking forward for that reasoning. And also, we're in this sporting activities coming up, and the Interprem will be on the 1st of April. So I want to send an echo out there when it comes to the races, especially those from the kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. Usually those 60-meter race and 80-meter race for the younger ones. They leave their homes like after 8, goes to the school and then goes to the track meet, and then some of them ain't even start to run until 6 o'clock in the evening. I want to send an echo out there to the ministry and those who involved in this mini Olympics. Find a time where those younger ones can start to run the race anywhere between 3:30 and get those races out the way, and then the older one you can start the races later down. But it don't make no sense to have kindergarten out of their parents' house from 8 o'clock, 8:30 all day, and you can and when the time comes, some of them not even run. You know what I'm saying? I have an issue with that. Okay, these policies need to change and be more considerate, because I'm not going to put my youth into certain things like that. I'm not sure about other parents. I mean, they don't like it, but they got to come out. The incident where children go out all day and then they still not run. If you're going to select children for the inter-primary school, let them run. Don't have people children out there and then they ain't run. What the purpose? Make up numbers, make no sense. And then these, as I said, for the kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, those races should be run back to back to back. And then the old, as far as I see, in the primary should not pass 6 o'clock. So if I need to start 8 o'clock, the races start 8 o'clock. This 12 o'clock thing now work. I don't know why these races have to start after 12, why they can't start banning and then by 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, the race done. This is too much entertainment is put into these events and long duration time because of a money making thing. And we got to really start to be more efficient about things when it comes to our children, and not putting them in such a long exhausting time being out and stuff like that. So that was just my input. So again, remember to keep sponsoring June Brown for her medical expense and stuff like that, and all who have been contributing to that expense. We greatly appreciate the effort, and those who have not, little is much, so one cocoa, full basket. Guys, yes, and that's my part. Anything before you go? You got the final word? What more new?
There was a comment I was looking for, but I really haven't seen it. Somebody was saying it seemed like Banky is so feisty. He's so feisty tonight. Um, Banky is at the cool side
Back in
today,
the
but
same fire, boy. Wow.
Lynetta Daniel, I said a comment earlier, but I don't remember.
What
I
you
don't
saying,
see
your
it.
son?
No, Lynetta was saying that Banky is not seemingly that feisty tonight. Because like last week, I guess, sorry, Tuesday night, you were on fire, when you were doing the candidate show. So I guess they say tonight you ain't that feisty, you're on the calm side tonight. But anyway, light moment as we wrap things up.
Meditation.
Yeah, man. Give thanks,
Meditation.
everybody. Give thanks, Manuel. Give thanks, Carlisle. Carlisle
Yes.
making some comments. You're saying, at the end, you're saying impressive vibes tonight. Thanks again to your guest, Manuel. So, Manuel, you know what I mean? Your contribution is well appreciated this evening. Enough respect, and we look forward to having you back in the not too distant future. So, people, everybody, Real Entertainment team. Enough respect to everybody. Be sure to log in Monday for another program with what the program with Alan name, but I always keep forgetting it.
Keeping up.
No, with Alan. Quality time with Alan. Quality time with Alan. Always, quality time with Alan. So be sure to tune in Monday evening at 8 o'clock for another edition of Quality Time with Alan. And then next week, Tuesday, we have Hazel Brandy with us on the topics. So until then, people, enough respect, guidance, and protection. Enough love. Real Entertainment Network to the world.
We out.
Okay. We ain't sure.
Let me link up the technician just on guide.
Yeah, man, go on, guide. Yeah, I'll continue and not allow dead ear. You know, so we will continue until our technical team. One of the things with our show, people got to understand, is an international show because our technical team is actually all the way in Miami, and we are here in Nevis, and you're in St. Kitts, I think, and you know it's an international show happening here. So people, enough of Quality Time with Alan on Monday nights. Tuesday evening, it's another edition of
people coming from to listen.
Yes,
so
all over the world. We global. So we give thanks. That's why I keep telling people it's a real, communication and network, taking place here. And I give thanks for the team. That's why I always give thanks for the team behind the scenes, because a lot of people might not know a lot of what go on behind the scenes. But it takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of dedication, and it's not easy. Sacrifice. Commitment, because like we're saying on a Friday evening, most people want to go to party or spend time with family and all that, and then to have somebody sitting behind the scenes having to put in the clips and the videos and all that, when he probably could have been spending some time with family. So it's really a commitment, and so we really give thanks for those who really take time out to come and listen. Yeah, man, to come and listen, because you could have been doing anything else on a Friday night, and so we give thanks. So I'm waiting for the cue. Usually I would see something pop up on the screen or something to let me know that all right, something happened behind the scenes. So people, much love, guidance. See you guys next week.
Yes, guys, later.
It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and